suspicious. One day she got fed up and after he retired for the night went out to the barn. She saw the mirror behind the boxes, picked it up and said, "So this is the hussy he's been fooling around with. Ain't that a good one? Ah!" And now for one more thing. We've got a new sponsor tonight called Shaft's Mayonnaise. If you like a mayonnaise that goes on smooth and creamy and doesn't go down too greasy, and if you like good white stuff on your sandwich, try Shaft's. It's by the same makers of Dick's Hot Dogs. If you love hot dogs, you'll love Dick's. And now back to Greg. All right, everybody, we're going to run another song. Thank you very much.
Hello, is it anyone?
And tonight's message, America, is that all we need is a dream. We can do just about anything as one group together. We can fight anything, even communism. Nothing else matters but the United States of America, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, 50 states of power united as one. That's the message I'm sending tonight. That's the message I send every night for the last 9 episodes that will continue into the end of oblivion and beyond. For this is Fight for Our Freedom Radio. And now we move on to the usual, to the story of the week. Hopefully, I'm coming out clearer now. I may have a slight echo, I'm not sure. But we'll figure it out tomorrow, if I have to. Now, without further ado, I have a story, because I've been skipping on certain countries and just paid attention to it tonight. I actually skipped Great Britain, and I wanted to speak about it because they have some of the baddest ass military we've ever seen, except for ours, with no disrespect to any other country for that matter. Robert Blair, Patty Mayne's story starts much the same way as the opening scene of the first Gears of War game. The grizzled, jaded, ludicrously muscular hero sits alone in a dark, rat-infested cell with no hope of escape and only his own violent Angustines to keep him company. When suddenly a light appears at the door and an old friend shows up with a double-edged proposition, sit here and rot to death like a chump or undertake a mega-dangerous mission so insurvivable and ultra-violent that the only way you're coming home is in a Chinese restaurant takeout box. Yeah. Didn't have it. Blah, 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 blah. In the case of Major Payne, a 6'2", 200-pound British commando with a thirst for violence rivaled only by his thirst for Guinness, rotting in a prison cell in Egypt awaiting court-martial wasn't all that it was cracked up to be. Sure, it was for an incident in which he cold-cocked a superior officer and then chased that motherfucker out of the officer's mess while swinging a bayonet like a knife and unleashing an epic stream of profanity so withering that it caused the guy's mother to spontaneously burst into tears from 3,000 miles away. But a little bit of corner punching should have been enough to keep him from tearing Nazis in half with fists. Of course, this hadn't been the Ulstermen's first run-in with authority either. A few months before the attempted stabbing of a superior jerk, Mayne had gotten some less than stellar service from a bartender and insisted of just stiffing the dude on the tip. He grabbed the guy by the throat, dragged him to the middle of the crowded nightclub, and made the guy dance while emptying his revolver around the guy's feet. But it was certainly looking like this would be the one that was going to send Patty Mayne backpacking home to North Ireland with a dishonorable discharge, a criminal record, and probably an unhealthy amount of pent-up rage. That is, until the intrepid Sir Colonel Clapton, Lord Master of the Sith, David Sterling, showed up at Mayne's prison cell with an inescapably badass Dirty Dozen-style offer. I can get the charges dropped for you, old boy. Or should I say that differently? I can get the charges dropped for you, old boy, but only if you agree to serve as my second command in a dangerous new covert unit I'm developing. The mission, you ask? Leading a small elite squad of 8 to 10 battle-hardened officers and soldiers on foot through the Sahara Desert, infiltrating deep behind German lines, fucking shit up, and hopefully getting back to base before Jerry gets his bloody act together and chops you into ground beef with the largest sort of various machine guns. The unit simply known as L Detachment, though today we know it by a different name, the British Special Air Service, or the SAS. As a founding member of the SAS, it was Patty Mayne's job to lead small, fast-moving teams of hard-hitting demolitions experts through the fucking Sahara, brave 130-degree temperatures during the day and sub-zero temps at night, climb 100-foot dunes, endure bugs, sandstorms, flash floods, dehydration, and enough sand in the underwear to build a freaking award-winning sandcastle, then infiltrate Rommel's airfields and do battle with a superior force without any hope of reinforcement or ever rescue. The task was super dangerous. On the SAS's first mission, 6 teams of 10 men parachuted into a desert storm in the middle of the night, and only a third of them ended up escaping with their lives, but that didn't deter Maine from kicking ass. This guy was the 1936 Irish University's heavyweight boxing champion, and a man who had a name for himself playing international rugby tournaments for the British and Irish national team. He wasn't about to back down because he lost 40 of his 60 soldiers on his first mission, no matter how much that sounded like it might have been a good idea. Realizing that skydiving in a sandstorms is a bit of a giant goat nutsack, Maine and Sterling changed their tactics and started taking open-top jeeps behind enemy lines, approaching German installations on foot and in the middle of the night, sabotaging all the aircraft they could find, and then escaping back to their vehicles, hauling ass, driving through the sands, rally road style. When this proved to be super successful and the Germans and Italians stepped up their defenses, the SAS started equipping their jeeps with twin-linked Vickers machine guns and making the raids even more balls out, riding a squadron of these machine gun cars in formation right into the enemy airstrip in broad daylight, guns blazing, shooting up the planes on the runway, and then hauling ass out of there while the fascist ground crews tried to figure out their dicks from their spanners. When it came to being awesome, desert combat style, the hard-drinking, hard-fighting Paddy Maine was the shit. Like one-on-one missions, this guy crawled through barbed wire, possibly shredding it apart with his teeth in the process, and personally destroyed 24 German fighter planes with thermite grenades, not to be confused with thermal detonators. Then kicked in the door to the pilot's rec room, hosed the entire place down with a Tommy gun, and all that was left was dead bodies and half-eaten lasagna, while expressionally walking away from the Fury Carnets in super slow motion, not looking at the explosions, of course. Maine happened to find one ME-109 that somehow hadn't been blown to shit. So realizing he was out of explosives, the big Irishman just casually walked over the aircraft, ripped the control panel out of the cockpit with his bare hands, and walked out into the desert, holding it like it was the severed head of a slain enemy. Anyways. And no, I'm not making it up. This is a seriously good thing that happened in real life. A week later, Maine drove his jeep down into the Army, into a different airfield, and personally destroyed another 27 fighters, giving him 51 aircraft kills in 2 days. If he had done that shit from the cockpit of a Spitfire, he'd have been a fighter ass 10 times over. But the time the SAS was done, they leveled over 100 enemy aircraft. And now for another break. Ooh, a break, you say? Ooh. Okay, that's enough of that. Music time, Mrs. Doubtfire dear. Yeah.
Everybody needs a little time away, I heard her say, from each other. Even lovers need a holiday, far away from each other. Hold me now. It's hard for me to say I'm sorry.